From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may see all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum hunabku, eva maya e maho. Ayum hunabku, evam maya e maho. Ayum hunabku, evam maya e maho.
In Lakesh, brother Ruben, and greetings to everybody out there tuning in with us in this special, most auspicious moment as we continue to navigate together these consequential times. Can you hear me there all right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure thing. Sure thing. Yes, I do. Perfect.
Well, greetings to everyone. So honored to be here again on this sacred virtual space to honor another important milestone within the process of our evolution. Today we are completing 14 cycles of 260 days from an event called Galactic Synchronization. And what an auspicious day to have again the opportunity to have this conversation and invite the audience to participate if they can and if they feel inspired to do so that we can actually tune in and evaluate what this year has been all about. We are on the 20th day of the 13th moon, 1320, and the fact that this day is synchronizing with those numbers, the number 13 and the number 20, is a signal of synchronization that we didn't want to let it go without noting it and honoring it. And thank you so much, brother, for then creating this space, for this container, for this conversation.
Absolutely. It's just one of those things that occurred to us as we proceed to move forth with an awareness to these codes. And, you know, like a lot of things, several of these things are being recognized or even remembered now, which I think is important to see, that these codes are very present and also revelatory, alive even. And
yes.
So yeah, to take advantage of the opportunity to acknowledge and pay homage to the preceding 10 years that we've navigated between the end of 2012 and the Galactic Synchronization in 2013 up to now in 2023. What a retrospect this can provide, you know, and bring some perspective to the acceleration that we've all been also navigating and witnessing, you know. And I like to think of it as applying the perspective of natural time, of the galactic calendar, of the almanac of synchronicity, or the 1328. By doing this, we apply a fourth dimensional lens on third dimensional human affairs. And we've been saying that for the past couple of years in terms of bringing some context to why this is important, why this matters right now. So I'm excited to explore and discuss with you, you know, and invite folks tuning in if they happen to be via YouTube, tuning in at the Harmonic Factor on youtube.com, or if they're tuning in via the Facebook page, the education page, Harmonic Convergence 2028, or in the group, the public group there on Facebook. We invite you to tap in with any questions. I want to acknowledge Ishel, who's in the background supporting us with the social media platforms and just kind of helping moderate that area. And so she'll bring to our attention if there's anybody with questions or comments, as this is a celebration, really. This is an acknowledgement of a major, major milestone. And it's a beautiful synchronizing moment, along with several other, I think, important synchronicities that we want to talk about tonight. Today in particular being 78 years since the detonation of the first atomic bomb, the experiment with that, which we know that led to some very irreparable effect to follow. So we'll look at some of that tonight. We also want to make conscious that in December of 2022, we were part of a 10-day activation called basically, you know, a light activation work through just recognizing the 12/12 portal between the date December 12th and December 21st, bringing us to the winter solstice. And the fact that our friend Manifest Ra's birthday, his 52nd birthday to be exact, was on December 12th. And he and I have been collaborating in the Washington, D.C. area for over 10 years around the completion of the Great Mayan Cycle in 2012. In fact, we were doing work there in the Washington, D.C. community for a few years prior to that completion date. So just to bring awareness to the fact that there is a significant placement of numbers and spans of time that we've been actively observing and tracking, you know, and that beginning really back, you know, in the period before 2012. So bringing us up to where we are now, and in December, having just completed the light activation work of 12/12 to 12/21, we're now, as of July 16th, this date, Kin 164, which is, again, as Ruben pointed out, the 14th Zolkin spin of the Galactic Synchronization event. And that took place back in 2013. Here we are today, 10 days between today and the beginning of the new year, the new natural time year. So it's another powerful, profound 10-day portal from that activation this past December, right up to the solstice. And now 7 months later, here we are with another 10-day anchoring and passage of this energy to make conscious, make sacred, make art, come to a creative perspective and arrive at some creative solutions and ways that we can proceed together. That's the idea, is by helping other people become aware of these significant milestones in time, then we can also become more coherent among those who recognize that there is a purpose and a timing to everything, as they say, under heaven, so to speak. And so recognizing these timing factors, as we've been bringing forward through the harmonicfactor.com, through 13months28days.info since the year 2016. This is our 8th year of carrying this work in this effort, in this particular initiative, that is intending to make it very clear that there is a divine, bounteous and beautiful orchestration of consequence happening in, we might say, the galactic sense of the higher worlds. And so the work that we've been tracking, I just want to clarify that it has definitely been a process of appreciating and observing the divine timing of all of these things. Even as things in the world appear chaotic, there is yet, even with that, a level of synchronization happening that with a fourth dimension lens, you can actually appreciate the human affairs of the third dimension in a new way.
Yeah.
And this is what taking on this, getting us out of that old time construct has really been about, is extracting our consciousness, bringing it back to the present of the now of what is, and actually getting on with the effort to create greater harmony.
Yeah, especially this year that we have had so much noise and so much disinformation regarding the world affairs, including artificial intelligence, the situation in Europe, the ongoing political dramas that we see playing out. So all of these events that seem to be so chaotic and that tend to distract us from the real nature of our reality, which is harmony. Fortunately, when we apply these tools and we apply this wisdom to our personal and to our planetary affairs, we can certainly start to get glimpses and a very coherent set of events unfolding that usually we are not able to perceive because we don't have the Gregorian calendar creates like a thick layer of fog, mental fog, and like a cacophony. If we are trying to hear like a melody, the Gregorian calendar tends to create like an interference pattern, so that we cannot perceive the harmony behind our everyday life. And here we are, like 10 years after, almost 10 years, 10 days to the 10 years of galactic synchronization, and being able to look back, to look forward, and see how much we have evolved in these 14 Solkins 10 years. It's quite dramatic in a good way, because the more time goes by and the more these markers start to kick in, we are able to see how reality is reconfiguring and that the hologram is coming back together. You were mentioning at the beginning that today we are completing 78 years from this first atomic disruption. And that created like a divergent wave of matter that, since the harmonic convergence of 1987 is coming together. All this reality that was split apart, the dimensional layers were split apart through this explosion at the atomic level, have been coming back together. Jose Arguelles always spoke about that the purpose of these codes was the harmonic convergence was to put the nuclear genie back into the bottle. And that's what we are doing here today, tonight. And we are really honored to be able to use or to take advantage of this harmonious passage and this entrance to these 10 days to the completion of the 10 years, to introduce a new tool with upgrades for people all around the world that we are going to make it available on Noösphere Day, a new almanac with new layers and new ways of perceiving this hidden harmony that are becoming more and more clear and more coherent as we progress through time. Last year, we were able to really map the different stages and the different cycles that we are tracking in a more in a fractal way, so that we can not only make sense of what happened in 10 years ago in galactic synchronization, but what's ahead of us. And these tools give us like a real accurate and harmonious perception of where we are in time and how we can take or make the best out of this timing, while a lot of people are still immersed in the 3D reality, which is at the moment not is becoming more and more incoherent. So these tools allows us to give coherence and imbue with harmony all these events, so that we can redeem what was started 78 years ago during the events in Trinity site.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. And another interesting overlap as you talk about the redemption that's happening is that this current year, Gregorian 2023, marks the 441 years since the initiation, the introduction, and launching of the Gregorian calendar. And we're in terms of today's context for going galactic, there's a couple of different ways to look at these numbers, but 441 years since this particular operating system has been applied across the globe. This has been the dominant paradigm for timekeeping and organization of time. And it has dominated not only the minds of countless billions of people worldwide, but also the resources of the physical earth itself, and making commodification and all sorts of diminishing of the earth as though it's just there for our consumption. And that's what that mentality has amplified for 441 years as of this year. Part of this significant galactic shift is that the collective human species is evolving from the Homo sapien variety to what is a dawning evolutionary phase of Homo Noösphericus. And this is also happening along this window of timing for the purpose of actually evolving our collective consciousness to be in attunement and coherence with the consciousness of Earth. And this is a time-lapse program of sorts, we might say, that's been perfectly timed to be coming online now. And so we're here witnessing a 10-year window that is a fragment, a fraction, a fractal of an even broader multiple year window, you know, that we're witnessing these important events and occurrences. And as we witness this, it is instructing us to pay attention to the divine timing of these things. And that's, again, back to the tools. The purpose of these tools is to help us make sense of these rippling effects over centuries and decades of certain consequential events that we need to basically show up to redeem by making them conscious. And that's one of the purposes that we've been navigating by for the past 8 years, is making these very consequential events conscious to at least a critical mass of people, that we can begin to stabilize the otherwise negative impacts that they've had, while helping guide the energy towards a process of stabilization and shifting the frequency. And part of that is preceded by making it conscious. Then once it's conscious, it can be made sacred. And then as it's made sacred, it can express as art, as beauty. Ultimately to the point where we're actually guiding a process where we're engaging with Earth as a work of art and beauty. And this becomes the norm that is a result of actually tuning ourselves to the natural timing frequency, where Earth is truly a work of art. And so we're here as part of what I call the transition team, or the repair unit, to support the Earth in transition through a very deep healing process that all of us as humanity are going through as well in our own microcosmic way. There's a macro level, meta level healing too. And so this is one of the things that natural time allows you to do, is it allows you to hold from the broadest fractal perception of the situation down to the most minute. You can then witness how it's all interrelated and actually causal, like causal effects and impacts, that things didn't just happen by happenstance, really, but there's cause and effect, and we can begin to be aware of that. And in so doing, we get to redeem it and actually contain it and neutralize these in-depth negative impacts, in a creative and artful way. That's the idea.
Yeah, and the moment that we make these aspects conscious, that we're unconscious, and we start this redemptive process, we are actually creating a new timeline, new timelines of regeneration that are an alternative to the timelines that we have been offered by the media and by the system, by the establishment, portraying always like fear-based scenarios in the future. Well, in reality, we are just getting into higher and higher attunement with the frequencies of the Earth, the frequencies of the galaxy. We have a major spike of Schumann resonance and major spike on solar activity also this week. We are on the Solking count today, is the 8th day of the cycle of the Earth. That is all about evolution, navigation, and synchronicity. So what a great opportunity to bring awareness and focus on this on the big picture and on the cycles that we are transiting, because in doing so we can reassure ourselves that we are riding a harmonic timeline or harmonic spiral, despite everything that we see around, which is still like the third dimension. We still are being affected by events on the 3D, but reality at a fundamental level, reality is mental. Everything that exists on the third dimension first existed on the fourth dimension of mind. So the moment that we reframe our mind and our minds and we perceive these events through this lens, we can reharmonize and we can perceive the hidden aspects of harmony that are behind what may look on the outside very daring, a very daring scenario. So thank you so much to everyone watching, and to you for opening again this space, and for those who are new and are a little bit lost at this point what we are talking about. Basically, we are in July 26, 2013 marked the an event or an horizon, our evolutionary timeline called Galactic Synchronization. And this was the exact midpoint of what is called the 52 years of the Noösphere, of the 52 years of the new dispensation of time, because since 1987, a new timeline was created, a new system to measure time was devised by Jose Alreidin Arguelles. And the more we attune to these harmonics and these cycles that they mapped, and just complete the map that they left for us to navigate, the more we can enter into higher and higher frequencies or aspects of reality, the more synchronicity we are going to experience. And of course, these events that are happening at the solar and the galactic rays that we are receiving, the solar rays that we are receiving, the solar plasmas, they are mutating us. So we are in a continuous process of evolution that we may not perceive, but that is happening right now really fast. And the faster it goes, the more we can perceive synchronicity taking place at astonishing levels. Like really, what we are wrapping up is cycles upon cycles upon cycles upon cycles that are all converging for this passage into a new galactic year. So what a blessing to be alive and to be able to continue this work and offer it to everyone who is ready, willing and able to upgrade their consciousness one level up and enter into these new frequencies and then enter into the new time. The old time is basically, it's done. We have to just let it go and honor it. But very important right now is to focus on the new, on what these energies and what this next year is going to bring to us. And this is what we are here to speak about.
That's absolutely right. So I wonder, without further ado,
you want me to
hear me? Yeah, I was going to say, maybe you want to share your screen, and we can begin to share with folks the new version of the 13-month, 28-day transitional calendar, as it does have important aspects that are really integrating, as you mentioned, the work that's been going on the past year, tracking these particular cycles. And so we'll share some of that now, and maybe you can walk us through a bit of the animation, and then maybe pause and talk a bit about what we're looking at. And let's just point out that we get this new Sirius cycle number 1, which began in 1987. We're entering the 36th year of that as of this coming Kin 174, or magnetic moon day 1 of the 36th year of the new Sirius cycle 1. So we can see that's a 52-year window. Just to bear in mind, we're synchronizing with things at a scale of 52 to some degree. That's something to point out. And here we go.
Yeah. So basically, what we prepare here is like a timeline or a map of the 52 years. This first, what is called the new Sirius cycle 1, that top, And this is part of a larger evolutionary process called the biosphere-noosphere transition that was started to be mapped by Jose Arguelles back in 1984 on a book called Earth Ascending, where he established the start of the nuclear era as the start of what is this acceleration of the machine that we are witnessing right now with the emergence of artificial intelligence to get to this next level of their own evolution. So that's why we on this map we are just making conscious what this transition is all about, what is the importance of the year we are closing and the one we are starting, and how we can actually upgrade our perceptions of time by tracking fractal cycles of 52. So here we have basically the first 52 years of the Noösphere that they go from the harmonic convergence of 1987 to the completion of the new Sirius cycle 1 in the year 2039. But at the midpoint of this cycle, exact midpoint, which was the year 2013, we have this event horizon. That's why it was kind of the eye of the needle, because the 52 years is split into 2 cycles of 26 years. And in 2013, we completed that milestone of 26, which is a fractal of the 26,000 years of the precession of the equinoxes. So, and a fractal of the 260 days of the Tzolk'in count, which is the cycle of human gestation. So these 52 years that we are going to map here first can be arranged or placed in what is called the red castle. The castle is a time unit of 52 units, fractal units. It could be 52 kin in this case, that in which each kin can be either 1 day, or it can be 1 week, like we are going to see, or they can be 1 moon, or they can be 1 year. In this case, this is what it will look like, where each of these 13-year cycle can be arranged into the first 52 kin, in which the year 1 from 1987 to 1988 would be kin 1. The year 2, 1988 to 1989 would be kin 2, and so long and so forth. That means that this year, because we are closing 36 years, this year would be correspondent to kin 36, and we are in this 13-year cycle of the hand, which would be 13 years from kin 27 to kin 39. That's the fractal time container for that time unit that we are right now navigating. We will explore a little bit deeper, because this is part of an important cycle that was mapped by Jose in Earth Ascending. So basically, each of these years contain also 13 months each. And in 1997, around this time, where we see here this red castle of 52 units that started was what was called the first fractal application of the knowledge after the Mayan factor. In the Mayan factor, Jose Arguelles established that the 260 kin of the Tzolk'in could have like a fractal expression as the 260 katuns contained within 1 cycle of 13 baktuns. So in this case, instead of 1 kin being 1 katun, he established that every 13 months we have or every year, we have 13 moons, and each of those moons can be mapped as a wave spell. And each of those wave spells, when we complete 5 of those, we basically, when we complete 4 of those, we complete 52 moons. So in 4 years, we have 52 moons. And that gives us like a fractal measure that every 4 moons, for instance, 8 years ago, when we started this campaign, this educational initiative, it was 104 moons ago on this fractal scale. So basically, right now, we are here on this new Sirius cycle 35. This central row that I'm pointing out here, they represent what is called the new Sirius cycle. But since we start counting the 0, the year, the first year of the new dispensation of time was the new Sirius cycle 0. And then that's why we are closing 36 here, and we are starting new Sirius cycle 1.36 here. But those 13 moons can be mapped as one wave spell. And in this case, we see here the alpha and the omega, they represent the first and the 13th moon. And the next year we are entering the wave spell of the storm, magnetic storm that ends on cosmic moon. So that would be like a fractal layer of the year of the overtone wizard that is here. So we can see that we are right now closing the self-existing moon year, and that was the wave spell of the world bridger that goes from kin 66 moon 1 to kin 78 moon 13, which is actually the moon that we are now closing. So here we can have also like a measure of synchronicity, because this entire moon that is coded by this number, this kin 78, is marking the 78 years of the nuclear era. So it's a perfect container to harmonize this event and start that process of putting the nuclear genie back into the bottle. And the 78 is, as a numerical fractal, a fractal of the Schumann resonance, which is 7.8. There are different layers of the Schumann resonance. We posted like a small diagram today, in which the next layer or the next level is 14.1, and today we're closing 14 Solkins of the galactic synchronization event horizon, this midpoint of this year.
Okay.
So and below that we have every year 52 weeks. So each of those 52 weeks can also be mapped as a fractal of one castle, one of these containers that we see here in the center, to show the 52 years as one container of time. So last year, and this is why we decided to include this on the new almanac, is to include these fractal markers so that we can become way more attuned to the frequencies for not only for each day, but for each heptad or week, and the energy for each of the 13 moons contained in 1 year. So in doing that, we can appreciate new layers of synchronicity that I will show like a couple of examples in the coming slides. But basically, this is the midpoint. This is the axis that we crossed exactly 14 Solkins ago. In 10 days, we were close 10 years from this moment in time. We were,
Wow.
at least I was in Mount Shasta with people from all over the world. We were welcoming in a conscious way, celebratory way, the arrival of what our way is called the new galactic beam, which is this new 1320 frequency that we are today experiencing as the day 20 of the month 13. And this galactic beam is sweeping across the galaxy and reach the shores of our planet in 2013. So now we are 10 years from that event. And in the Solkin cosmology, number 10 represents the tone of manifestation. So we are starting to see the manifestations of this galactic synchronization beam through many events that are happening that we covered today on a note that was posted. But basically, as we close these holographic time containers, we can perceive how this divine timing or divine plan is unfolding with absolute precision and perfection, and we are actually in awe every time that we discover one new layer of synchronicity that pops out, and just it brings a lot of feelings of grace, of gratitude that elevate our consciousness, elevate our frequency, because once we see that we are just not only the actors, but the screenwriters of this epic story of evolution that we decided to experience here and now at this time on Earth, we really have no choice but to surrender to this higher order of reality and be grateful and just become instruments for these frequencies to operate through us. We are like musical instruments attuned to our particular frequencies, our key number, our galactic signature, the sign of nature. And once the instrument, this body, is clear and is able to connect to these frequencies, then is not us doing things, is this intelligent doing us. We are just vehicles for the frequencies to express themselves, and bringing these new tools is part of that process of feeling inspired to bring this new awareness and to enhance our ability to perceive the cycles of times in all their glory, their fractal glory. And here what we see at the bottom in the colors of the rainbow are what is called the Holton cycles. Holton is groups of 5 years, because every 5 years we have 7 Solkins, and 5 cycles of 5 years are 5 cycles of 52 weeks, which go back to 260 weeks. So last year, as we closed 35 years, we closed 7 cycles of 260 weeks. And that was for us the signal to include
All right, you still there, Ruben? think we lost you momentarily. Maybe the connection is going to come back here, but I think he was going to say that this is what gave the inspiration to include the whole tune cycle track across the bottom there, mapping those 5-year pockets as they're very, very significant. And in fact, we're just now navigating another 5-year cycle, whole tune cycle, of which we're just completing the first year. So as of this upcoming Overtone Wizard Day, we'll be entering then the second year of this 5-year whole tune cycle. So I want to give Ruben a moment to come back, and we'll see if he's able to jump back in, and we can continue the conversation. Obviously, I know it's a lot of dense information, perhaps, although I'm sure the visuals are an aid to help make it more comprehensive. And with that, I also want to just go ahead, and as we find out where Ruben is, if he can get back on, I'll go ahead and take the moment to play a little music as we navigate this together. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll take a little break and check out the song Celestial Waters by Mystic Column, produced by Planet Restoration, and we'll be right back with you. We give thanks.
We also talk about time shifters, that we are not just moving in space, but we are evolving in time. We are a part of a larger plan of cosmic evolution.
I am one with the earth and myself are one mind.
Remember this book of remembrance, buried there within your heart. Deep.
All right, we're back. That's funny. Technical error, but we caught it with a music video. And then the video cut off right when you came back. So that's good.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah, we have a power outage here, so everything went black. Maybe it was a solar flare.
I gotta find the video here. Hold on. It's like, see if I can find where it's playing. Got too many windows open.
Hyperplasmic illumination.
Wait a second.
Frequency, universal cosmic creation. Love's the master key. I am one with the earth and myself are one man.
All right. Thanks for that little technical opportunity. Too many windows open on the computer. You know how it goes. So glad to come back to where we were and you were sharing screen. Let's go back to that. And I think you got cut off when you were explaining the inspiration behind including the whole tune marker. Go ahead and come off and mute yourself. You got to unmute.
Since I don't want to go through the entire animation again, we can basically, I was about to close, basically saying to recap. And 1 year ago, we completed 35 years from the new dispensation of time. Those 35 years can be accommodated or divided as 7 cycles of 260 weeks, because every year we have 52 weeks. So in 5 years, we have 260 weeks.
Yeah.
And in 35 years, we have 7 cycles of 260 weeks to creating these new layers of the moon cycles and the heptacycles on this 8th year of presenting this calendar and this tool to the world. We started 8 years ago with a black and white template, only using the moon days to make like a gradual shift for many people to go on baby steps, just getting used to the difference and the parallel between artificial time, Gregorian calendar, and harmonic time, 13 month, 28-day calendar. And like you mentioned at the beginning, it was only a couple of years ago that we started to implement or it was last year maybe, that we started just to put the key number. But this year, because we are completing 8 years, 8 is the number of integrity within the system. So we want to bring all the elements that makes this system scalable, fractal, and perfectly arranged in between the lunar cycles, the solar cycles, and the Sirius cycles, or what is called the solar galactic cycles. And also, this becomes like a measure for harmony within the long count and the ancient Maya calendar. That means that, for instance, precisely 260 days ago, it was October 29th, I think, yeah, 29th of 2022, and on October 30th, we completed on the long count 10 cycles of 360 days, which are called tune. That means that we completed right as we entered this 14th spin that we are closing. We completed 10 cycles of 360 days, and that's how these different measures of harmony, they start to interact with each other, and they start to show higher levels of coherence and integration. That's why the 8th edition of the cosmic calendar is basically the integration of all those fractal layers into one coherent and streamlined application. So on this chart, we will see just the sample of the 13th moon in 1 year. This is the Gregorian layer of the moons. We can see here on July 5th, we are going to have a new moon, and on July 21, we are going to have a full moon. But we cannot see patterns of harmony in this matrix. It's only when we apply the cosmic filter, which is the number 13, and the cosmic perception, which is what makes the Mayan timing system different from all timing systems in the world, that is based on the number 13, not on 12. And that makes a small but huge difference, because it's only one unit within the interval, 1 unit more, but that extra unit is what makes the entire system work like a philharmonic orchestra. So this last moon, we are on this new edition, we are integrating what is called the 7 days of the week, which are the name of the solar plasmas. These are aspects of our consciousness that are frequencies that are emitted by the sun, and that they affect each of our 7 chakras or energetic centers. And every Silio, every last day of the 7th day of the week, or the heptad, we are in our hearts. That's the 7th is always at the center, and the first day is the crown. The second day is the root. The third day is the third eye. The fourth day is our sacral center. The 5th day is our throat. The 6th day is our solar plexus, and on the 7th day we enter our hearts. So now we see how these 2 layers are also accompanied by the king of the day. So every day on the 260-day count, which is the cycle of, or the measure of human gestation of the moon is a measure of the human fertility cycle, and the 260-day of the human gestation cycle. It's the time that we spend in the womb. So on this, for instance, in exactly 1 year, we will be here. So precisely, it would be the 30th, the 20th day of the 13th moon will correspond to kin 9 and solar moon. So we will be at the start of a galactic cycle in 1 year. We are starting a galactic cycle that will start on the 8th of the 7th month. On the 8th of July, we have kin 1. So in this under this layer, we can also appreciate that this entire moon, these 28 days, is a unit here on this waist, which is the 13th day of the storm, the 13th moon. So that gives us another layer of perception to elevate our perceptions. And each of these moons, each of these weeks are also will correspond to the week 49, week number 50, week number 51, and week number 52. And we can see how on week 52, kin 104, that is 2, because right now,
All right, I still got you here.
I don't know if we are still live.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. So what I was showing is that right now we are closing this in this year. We are closing we are approaching the last week of the year, which is the week 52 that starts every year, because this is a perpetual calendar. Every year, the 52nd week of the 13th moon year goes from July 18 to July 24th. So we are here now. We are here. We are about to close the heptad, or week 51, and we are about to enter week 52, and that week 52 this year corresponds to Kin 52, because remember, we closed last year 7 cycles of 260 weeks. So we started a new cycle of 52 weeks, in which week 1 of the year was Kin 1, magnetic dragon, and therefore the last week of the year, week 52, would correspond to cosmic human. But since we are watching or checking here, is just the moon for the next year, it's going to be Kin 104, which is 52 times 2. So this is how the system works on a fractal scale, based on that standard unit of measure of 52. There are 52 years in one cycle of synchronization between the 260-day count and the 364, or the lunar solar count. That means that because every year has 52 weeks, that's also like a measure of that synchronization cycle, and each of those 52 weeks can be split into 4 cycles of 13 weeks each, which would be the 4 seasons of the year. So we have 4 seasons in one 52-year cycle, 4 quarters. Each quarter has 13 weeks. That is what makes this number 52, is what makes the whole system coherent, because it's a multiple of 4 and 13, and the moon conceals the cycle of 7, and those are the key numbers of the natural timing frequencies, 4, 7, and 13, and of course the 20, which is operating in the background as the vigesimal mathematics. This full version of the new almanac on Noöspheric day, on the 26th day of this moon, and we hope that people enjoy it, and that we expect some feedback to see for those chrononauts, those people who are already used to these tools, how they perceive this integration of the 52 at a fractal scale, and how the system can be in this way tracked every year, with way more layers of appreciation and interpretation for the cycles that we are transiting.
Incredible, man. It is indeed a wonderful thing to see this coming to fruition at this point in time. As you said, this is our 8th edition, and we're completely going galactic at this point. And we were going to point out to folks, I mean, one of the reasons we stripped it down in 2016 was primarily for the purpose of resuscitating in people's awareness the need for the calendar change to occur from the Gregorian calendar to the harmonic module, or the harmonic standard of 13 months, 28 days. And, you know, we knew at some point we would be reintegrating with the galactic, bringing that into full view. As Ruben indicated, we began to do that last year by indicating the kin number correlated with every day. And then this year, of course, being that we are in the 8th year, the galactic tone of this campaign, it is the right time to completely resuscitate the galactic nature of this particular approach. You know, it's always been there. It's always been in the background, although we definitely wanted to help people focus into the purpose of deconstructing the calendar to decolonizing the mind, how that works together, and begin to appreciate the need for a calendar reform, a calendar change. And this also being the reason that we did launch the calendar referendum initiative in 2016 on Indigenous Peoples Day that year. And that continues. Now we're over 11,000 signatures. And like all these things, they take time, but with the consistency and the persistence to stay the course, you know, we continue to show up and provide this information and ways for people to engage in this knowledge, while we also work to unify the movement of people around the world who are involved in this, who really do see the importance in finding new ways to bring a higher harmony and a greater unity to this planetary effort. So as that continues, I'd like to also point out the fact for those tuning in, this next 10 days is very special for us, as we will be convening for the first time in person in 4 years almost at this point. But together, at the last time we were together, we happened to be at the sacred location of Chichen Itza, you know, in the Yucatan, where we have the good fortune of some very ceremonial moments and planting some crystal seeds and some things towards the future. And then the pandemic hit and everything went the direction it's gone. And yet here we are now 4 years later, practically, you know, with a whole new, I think, revived trajectory for this work and where it's being called and how we're being called to present it. And we'll have the sacred opportunity to be together with Ixchel at Teotihuacan, with kin from around the world who are coming to that particular sacred space to commemorate the zenithal passage, the day out of time, the heliacal rising of Sirius at 19.5 degrees, and these various important and very deeply sacred markers for this evolutionary process. I wanted to invite you, Ruben, if you want to speak on that a little bit as well, as you're part of this ongoing work with the kin from the global south, who've been really anchoring these energy centers of the earth itself in these sacred places. And maybe you can share with us how Teotihuacan, where we will be next week at the completion of this 13 moon cycle, is considered the crown chakra of this arrangement of places, and maybe give a little bit of insight as to some of the ceremonies that have led up to now, while also acknowledging today as a second 777 portal that we want to acknowledge as well with other relations who are engaging in this work.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's one layer that we forgot to mention, that even the Gregorian calendar gets harmonized with 23, which adds to 7, 2 plus 2 plus 3, 7. So in July, we have 3777 portals. And what a blessing to be completing today 2 cycles of 7 soulkins from Galactic Sync. And tomorrow is day 21, 777 of this moon. And of course, July 25th, which has to 7, is the 3rd portal. So we have a synchronization by the power of 7 taking place 3 times during this Gregorian month of July, as a way to redeem also the incoherence and the irregularity it still holds. But we can see how this 7 is even factoring in when we include the layers of the synchronic order. And we have the 2 cycles of 7 Solstice completing today, and tomorrow we have the 3 cycles of 7 days of this moon. So here we are, only 8 days away from the closing of this 10 years of galactic synchronization and the entrance into a new galactic year. And why Teotihuacan is an important acupuncture point for this date. Well, the Teotihuacan was built, it's basically the cradle of Mesoamerican cultures. It goes way back history, and it was probably built by beings that left their knowledge embedded into the architecture. And the pyramid of the sun, which is the tallest and the largest building in the complex, well, it's situated, or it was placed at a latitude of 19.5 degrees north, which happens to be the point where tetrahedra gets inscribed into a sphere. We can see this in the sun. The sunspot cycles, they tend to appear around this latitude. We can see it on the Earth. The Hawaii volcano of Kilauea is on 19.5 degrees. So that area, those latitudes around the Earth of 19.5, we tend to have like the assemblage of the third dimension with the fourth dimension or torsion fields, which is this Merkaba, or this energetic field that is allowing the Earth to rotate and hold a harmonic field, and the electromagnetic field. And it's precisely on July 25th when 2 astronomical phenomena happens. One, at this latitude of 19.5, on July 25th, we have what is called the zenithal passage of the sun, which is why we are going this year, is to document this passage as best as we can, and be able to show people how our ancient ancestors used to track these movements of the stars and of the sun. Because on this day, the zenithal passage is precisely when the sun rays at noon align perpendicularly with the Earth. So it create like a perfect union between the masculine, which is the solar being, the sun, the fire, and the Earth that gets impregnated by the energy of the sun. So that is one aspect. And the other aspect is that precisely at this latitude of 19.5, on July 26 is when we see the star Sirius, which is the brightest star in the night sky, to appear before the sun appears. So basically around July 24th, if we go out before sunrise, we will see probably the sun rising, and then if we use an app, we can see the Sirius coming after the sun. On July 25th, they are rising at the same time, but on July 26th, Sirius takes the lead, and it's what is called the heliacal rising of Sirius. Heliacal means Helios, the sun. So it's when any star or any celestial body rises before sunrise. It's called the heliacal rising that day. And that marks the start of what is called the galactic year. And Sirius is therefore considered the galactic marker. It's the only celestial body that we can track, because there is a harmonic relationship precisely of 52 years of Sirius B going around Sirius A, 52 years, So that star system is synchronized with our cycles. That's why the new dispensation of time is called the new Sirius chronology. Is basically tracking the movements of the Earth along with the movements of the sun, movements of the moon, and the movements of this star system called Sirius. That's this same star that ancient civilizations like the Dogon in Africa, which seems like they have been tracking this moment of this, that the star Sirius rises before the sun for 73,000 years or something like that. So this is very ancient knowledge that has been hidden, and that we are now able to reconnect with and to document and celebrate with people around the world. Big thanks for the invitation to go to. You have been saying it's been like a small harmonic convergence taking place at Teotihuacan this July 25th. It's a generational gathering from the elders that have been holding this wisdom for many years. The new generations that are coming in, that are bringing a new impulse and a new breath of life to this work by integrating the codes into their activities and spiritual activations, and our generation, which is like the bridge between the elders and the new generations. So we're going to be sharing a sacred space in Teotihuacan. We invite everyone who wants to, who feels the call to go and join these celebrations of the Year of Time. Time is art, peace through culture, to receive the blessings of this zenithal passage of the sun and the first light of Sirius on July 26th, July 25th, and give thanks to all beings that have worked for this information, this knowledge to stay alive and to stay in our consciousness. We want to also invite everyone to, if they feel inspired to do so, to collaborate with from their heart with a donation to make this documentary, this small documentary, a reality. And we have the support. I don't know if you want to speak about the support of one of the documentaries that are going to provide the camera for this mission of recording live what is this portal or about this Stargate at the ancient city of Teotihuacan.
Thank you for that beautiful sharing into the full scope of what's happening and why it's so special at this time. And yes, as Ruben mentioned, we have received an offer from a friend of ours who is a filmmaker himself, who understands the importance of going to these sacred places and in as good a way as possible be able to document on film so that we can shine a light on these ongoing observations. This is many, many years. It's been observed over the decades and centuries, actually. And so for people indigenous to this region, this is a very important thing to behold and to make sacred now for a modern audience. And in such a way, help to resensitize ourselves and reorient ourselves to these natural markers, as he mentioned, Sirius and its 52-year cycle, and bring some awareness to the importance of these 52-year cycles in our own human lives and how these particular 52-year cycles show up as major rites of initiation in a way, the fulfillment of a certain work of your life and maturation, and then beginning a new cycle at 52 for a new beginning, essentially as a newborn, yet with the responsibility of an elder. And so we, in our generation are crossing that threshold over the next couple of years. And so making sacred by going here to this place and really tuning in to the long line of people over the eons who have celebrated and observed the zenithal passage, for example. It's a great honor. And so if you are resonant with this work, we invite your support. We invite you to make a contribution via the GoFundMe page that we have created. We'll also provide a secondary platform for donation. I'm going to pull that up right now and share that with Ishel. That can be included in the chat. As I understand, some people, for understandable reasons, don't necessarily resonate with utilizing GoFundMe, just considering some of the confusion that happened with the activists, the trucker activists in Canadian North last year, and then withholding money that was raised by people who were sympathetic to their cause. So I definitely understand that GoFundMe is not perfect. And at the same time, we're utilizing whatever tools we do have at our access, but we do appreciate that being made conscious to some degree earlier today. So we provide an additional platform through something called Donor Box, which again, Ishel will post in the group on Facebook, as well as hopefully in the YouTube channel. But we do encourage you to go to GoFundMe or go to the Donor Box and make a contribution. As little as $10 would help us meet our goal. If everybody out there tuning in and at Harmonic Convergence 2028 and our other assets would make a small contribution, we would be able to meet the goal that we have set for fundraising in order to bring this very unique perspective, I think, forward to the people. So we do truly appreciate your energetic support. As Ruben also indicated, on Noöspheric Day, July 22nd, we will be releasing the new time calendar for the forthcoming year, the Year of WOW, White Overtone Wizard Year. And so that will be publicly available at both 13months28days.info as well as at the harmonicfactor.com. And we'll also be sure to make sure it's promoted through all of the social media channels as well. And your contributions that you make to FNC, Foundation for Noöspheric Consciousness, go to not only support the creation of the film in Teotihuacan, but also to support the development of these calendars and these tools over the past 8 years. So we do genuinely appreciate your support. I mean, for us, this is a labor of love and, something that we've done from our own resources with next to nothing, just because we are deeply committed and devoted to this path of truth and recognition, of changing the calendar and getting really synchronized and elevated into a comprehension of the noospheric levels of consciousness that we can engage in. So with that, we did establish Foundation for Noöspheric Consciousness about a year ago as essentially a faith-based organization through which we could continue to pursue this work, but that it really be self-sustained with support from those folks out here that do resonate with it. And any contribution you can make is greatly appreciated. And you can rest assured it's going toward this mission of synthesizing, synchronizing, and harmonizing in tune with natural time and presenting that as a way forward as we navigate together. Go ahead, Ruben, you wanted to add something, please?
Yeah, just a couple of harmonic layers to the invitation to this day out of time, because it's a special version of day out of time. It's not only this generational gathering, but it's also the completion of 36 years, and from the astronomical perspective, that's another important milestone, because 36 years is a square of 36, a square of 6. 6 times 6 is 36. It's a fractal of the 360 degrees in a circle. And it's half of 72 years, which is the precessional unit, the fractal unit. Every 72 years, the stars move 1 degree in the celestial dome. So basically, since the new dispensation of time and the harmonic convergence, we are reaching now the midpoint of that precessional marker of 72. That means that not only we are closing an important fractal of our passage here on Earth, but basically 72 years is a lifespan. Is the time that Jose Arguelles spent here on Jose and Loidin. They spent 72 years both on this Earth.
Wow.
And the discovery of Pacal Botan's tomb in Palenque is also, it happened in 1952, June 15. So basically last June 15 of 2023, we completed 71 years, 71 years, and we entered the 72 unit. And as part of this completion of that fractal measure of the precession of the equinoxes, we are completing next September 8, 100 Solkins, or 26,000 kin, being 100 times 260 is 26,000. That's a fractal of the measure of the precessional cycle. So basically, the Solkin gives us also like a very elegant and perfect measure, fractal measure of the precessional cycle within this 72-year period. And that day, as we are celebrating in city in Palenque, the Institute of is the governmental organization that administrates all the archaeological areas and the museums, is recognizing Palenque as a peace sanctuary, as with the banner of peace. So we know that the Day Out of Time is always, the banner of peace is kind of the icon or the symbol to promote peace through culture. So what an amazing way to close this fractal cycle of 72 years and 26,000 kin, in honoring not only the city, but also the archaeologists who discovered this tomb of the ancient king Pacal Botan, who is the time engineer who left the clues for us, and that thanks to the work of Jose and Loidin Arguelles and many others, we are now able to perceive new layers also of prophetic significance and the closing of a major hologram within that prophetic stream that was open almost 72 years ago when Alberto Ruz, who discovered the tomb, is going to get like a distinction as by an organization as Caballero de la Orden del Águila, which is basically the highest degree for contributions to the culture and the expansion of this wisdom, and that will take place at the Palenque site on July 26, which is exactly years to the date from Pacalbotan. Everything seems to be really well timed. And as we are celebrating in Teotihuacan, there will be groups celebrating in Palenque. We're going to do some synchronized meditations, the Rainbow Bridge meditation, to really bring this energy in, bring this zenithal passage of this our bodies into our consciousness, and become vehicles for the new to shift our biology into a new layer of our evolution. So thank you so much for listening to so much to you.
Yep. Looks like, oh, there we go. All right. 1 second. We'll wait for Ruben to pop back in. As he was saying, thank you very much for tuning in and for showing your support. And I think he was mentioning the time between the installment of Pacalbotan. I think you were speaking to that, if I'm not correct. You kind of cut out there. It was hard to hear you, but you were talking about 1,408 years, 1,408 years from the time that the tomb was, well, the time that Pakal was installed. Is that correct? When he ascended to the throne, there's 1,408 years from that point to the time his tomb was recovered by Alberto Ruz in 1952.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
yeah,
I wanted you to clarify that.
1408 years from the moment he was crowned as king at the young age of 12 years,
Yes.
16 July 26, 615.
I got you.
And there is 1408 years to July 26, 2023. And that's not a random number either. 1408 years is basically part of the binary progression of how our DNA works. So it's a very harmonious interval. 1408 years is 11 cycles of 128 years, or 22 cycles of 64 years, 44 cycles of 32 years, 88 cycles of 16 years. And in that way, we can see the progression of how these intervals of 16, 32, 64, 128, they're basically the binary progression. And it's exactly also the interval in between the birth of Pacalbotan on March 23rd, 603, and the passage of Jose Arguelles on March 23, 2011. It's exactly 1408 years. So receiving this honorary distinction at that precise point, not one more day more or less, is very elegant, and it's for us to contemplate how within the span of our time here on Earth, 1408 years is like many lifetimes. So what a demonstration of the harmony behind this prophetic stream and these cycles to be able to witness this.
Yeah, it leaves you speechless at some point. It's, it's really profound. To be clear, then, the date of Pakal ascending to the throne, is there an exact date for when that took place, at least according to the the Julian or the Gregorian calendar? We know that was in 615. Is that correct? But do we know the exact date? Okay, I think we lost Ruben again. But nevertheless, the synchronicity there is very, very profound, and something to certainly contemplate. That factor of 1408 years across these particular synchronicities is, to be something we're witnessing in our lifetime. Definitely something to contemplate. And with that said, I just want to take the time to thank everybody out there who's been tuning in today for Going Galactic in the Year of WOW, White Overtone Wizard. And thank you for staying tuned over the next few days, this next 10-day window, in fact, and look forward to, on Noöspheric Day, the launch of the 1328 natural time transitional calendar. And that is specifically on kin 170, White Magnetic Dog, which is 6 days from today's date. So we appreciate all of you tuning in. Thank you so much. We want to make sure to again encourage you to give a donation if you can. I'm getting a note here from the back saying on a prior entry, there are 1408 years between the arrival of Pakal Votan and the departure of Jose. Yes, we covered that. That's definitely one of the instances of 1408. And then the other one being, as Ruben pointed out, 1408 years between the, basically the birth, if I'm not mistaken, because he did get cut off there, but there was the installment of Pakal, and then he said the significance relative to Alberto Ruz. But we'll confirm that because another reception cut it out a little bit. Just to confirm that, and we'll make sure to publish that tidbit on the Harmonic Convergence 2028 Facebook page. And again, thank you all for your time and attention, and definitely check the links in bio for our Linktree accounts, where you can make a donation to the Teotihuacan film project. We really, really appreciate your support. And as well, your donations go towards the publishing of the New Year's 13-month, 28-day calendar. All right. So thank you so much. And I want to give a special shout out to Ishal, who's helping us in the background, producing behind the scenes, and to all of our kin and collaborators around the world who have shown their support for the campaign. We truly appreciate you and all of your support as we continue to keep on the mission and stay the course. With that said, I will sign off saying In Lakesh, and peace and blessings be with you wherever you may be. And we look forward to being in touch again soon. All right. One love.